This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. Madam Deputy Clerk.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made by the posting on the bulletin boards in the municipal building, posted on the township website, and electronically transmitted to official designated newspaper indicating that this work session regular meeting will take place via WebEx at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 14, 2021.
Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois, if you could perform the invocation.
As we gather here today, as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. We should always keep in mind the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Ambarson, Councilman Chase,
Here.
Councilwoman Francois,
Here.
Mayor Kramer,
Here.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Here.
Councilwoman Udine,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella,
Here.
and Councilman Wright.
Next, we're on to commendations and proclamations. The Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2021 year-end holiday crackdown proclamation. Deputy Mayor Vasanella, I had emailed you to ask you to perform that.
You're waiting. Ready to go.
Go ahead, Councilman, Deputy Mayor.
Whereas approximately 1/3 of all fatal traffic crashes in the United States involve impaired drivers. And whereas impaired driving crashes killed 10,142 people in the U.S. in 2019. And whereas impaired driving crashes cost the U.S. almost $44 billion a year. Whereas during the past 5 years, New Jersey roadways experienced 35,307 crashes and 618 fatalities involving impaired drivers. And whereas an enforcement crackdown is planned to combat impaired driving, and whereas the year-end holiday season is traditionally a time for social gatherings, which include alcohol, and whereas the state of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies throughout the state to participate in the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2021 year-end holiday crackdown. And whereas the project will involve increased impaired driving enforcement from December 3rd, 2021 through January 1st, 2022, and whereas an increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives on our roadway. Therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and the council of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, declares it support Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2021 year-end holiday crackdown from December 4th, 2021 through January 1st, 2022, and pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving. And Mayor, of course, would just add to that, of course, distracted driving remains to be a big issue nationally and in our state and locally. So as you're being mindful of driving impaired or not drive impaired or not let anyone else drive impaired, please be mindful of the distracted driving dangers that also come along with a lot of holiday driving. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It is now my honor to read a commendation honoring Councilman Ted Chase, this being his final council meeting. Commendation. Whereas the Township of Franklin is benefited by citizens who contribute their time, talent, and skills for the betterment of our community. And whereas Dr. Theodore Ted Chase Jr. has served the community of Franklin Township, Somerset County, as Councilman Ward 1 from January 1, 2010 through December 31st, 2021, and as Deputy Mayor from January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016. And whereas Ted was instrumental in the establishment of the Township's Sustainable Jersey Municipal Certification Program, Green Team, and the completion of the Route 27 water main replacement and Route 518 booster station modifications. And whereas, in connection to his tenure on the Township Council, Ted served on various boards and committees, including the following: Agricultural Advisory Committee, Environmental Commission, Historic Preservation Advisory Commission, Kingston Village Advisory Committee, Open Space Advisory Committee, Planning Board, Green Team, Central Jersey Transportation Forum, Municipal Wastewater Management Planning Committee, Local Energy Team, Gas Compressor Station Opposition Ad Hoc Committee, Financial Oversight, Land Use, Open Space, Parks and Recreation, Public Works, and Economic Development. And whereas serving on those various boards and committees is merely a small indication of Ted's dedication to his community and its residents, and his desires and efforts to keep Franklin Township a home in which all can be proud. Now, therefore, we, the Township Council of the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of its residents, do hereby thank and commend Dr. Theodore Chase Jr. for his devotion and dedication to our community and its residents. And yes, I understand you got a plaque today. And delivered.
And delivered.
Do you have something to
See
say?
me to see the plaque. I had not prepared any remarks. I have enjoyed being on the council. Being able to speak up about something and have attention paid is always gratifying, but it's all been in the service of the people, particularly the people of the First Ward, but also of the whole township, and trying to decide always deciding what is best for the people of the township. And of course, my council service comes after many years of service, first on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and then on the Environmental Commission and Planning Board from 1996 through 2009. So I have been involved with township business for a long time, and I hope to continue through the Environmental Commission even after I step down from the council. You don't have to campaign door to door to be on the Environmental Commission. And just yesterday, I had a call from a constituent about a road problem, so it continues, but I'll be passing them on to Councilman Potosnak when he takes office. So I thank you all thank you for the lengthy commendation with a list of committees which must have seemed as if it would never end.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm going to open for a brief public session for people to make brief remarks specifically about Councilman Chase. And we will start with Assemblyman Danielson, who I see.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council, everyone. Dr. Chase, I'm taking great honor in being allowed to speak tonight in view of your service. It's been 26 years that I've had the pleasure of being your friend, often your student, and always by your side. I remember one of the first days I met you when I jokingly claimed that my name was Chawbunagugumug. Everyone looked at me with a puzzled look on their face. You, however, responded with, "Ah, you fish on your side, I'll fish on my side, and no one fishes in the middle." Ted Chase, lesson number one, don't ever try fooling Ted Chase, because he even knew that Native American expression. From there, we served together on the planning board for 14 years. Most of those years were very difficult and busy, to say the least. Countless times I watched you be a leader in protecting our township, our community, our environment, our history, and our government. Together, you and I battled issues ranging from overdevelopment to civil corruption, from traffic issues to stream corridor protection. Though you never asked for any of those leadership positions, you were often recruited to fill them. Our township has greatly benefited from your knowledge and your personal sacrifice. I have personally enjoyed the lessons of our town's history you were always willing to offer, your knowledge specifically of our environment and our wildlife. You are a great steward of responsibility of all of the positions you've held, in addition to your council seat, but most importantly, Ted, the position of being my friend. I take this opportunity with pride to present to you a resolution from the New Jersey General Assembly signed by the Speaker and the Assembly Clerk. In your honor, I will not read the entire resolution, but it recounts many, certainly not all, but many important accomplishments that denote your commitment and your contribution and sacrifice of the many, many years, all for the benefit of all the people that live in Franklin, work in Franklin, and visit Franklin. I'll speak personally, my life has been greatly enriched being able to work next to you, watch you, or simply know that you're out there. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be thanking you for the rest of my life, Ted. That concludes my comments, Mayor.
Well, thank you, Joe. I think it shows why you're in the assembly and I'm not, that you can say so much.
Well, it's certainly my honor. I just wish everybody just knew how valuable and superior as a person you are.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Mr. McQueen, if you could invite people.
Yes, Mr.
Or
Mayor,
bring
anybody
comment.
from the public wishing to speak, we ask that you *3 from the telephone or the raise hand feature in the chat function.
This is specifically about comments about Mr. Chase. We'll have a public session later where you can speak about anything related to government.
Again, anybody from the public wishing to speak on this matter, use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone.
Guess I don't have any fans out there other than the assemblyman.
Okay, we will move on. So actually the next, a somewhat unusual step is we're going to go into executive session, assuming council votes to do so. And we will then come back and conduct the rest of the meeting. So do not go away. But this may not be a short executive session either. We are going to do this because we may take action on what we learn in an executive session. Otherwise, we would have it at the end. So Resolution 21-391 authorizes executive session. Zoning Board of Adjustment is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in, seconded. Any discussion? Madam Deputy Clerk. Roll call.
Okay, Councilman Ambarson? Councilman Ambarson?
He's not here.
Yes.
He was, okay.
Oh, he is.
Okay, Councilman Chase?
Yes,
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Puett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine? Deputy Mayor
Yes.
Vasanella? Okay, Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
And Councilman Wright?
Yes.
So we're going to take a break from the meeting. Council's going to sign out and we will sign back in later.
Okay, good.
We are going to go into an incognito mode till they return from closed session. I will then resume the meeting.
You just logged out?
Crystal, that is one fast computer you have.
Well, it helps that I have all the links lined up.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Back in the meeting.
Can they see that we're joining, Mr. McQueen?
Nope, I
I just
believe
don't-
we are all back in.
Tell me when we're live.
We are back live, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Do I have a motion to come out of executive session?
Second.
All in favor of coming out of executive session, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say
Aye.
nay. Motion is carried. We are out of executive session, back in the public session. Council has had a discussion. Does anyone have a motion?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to direct the township attorney to appear before the zoning board of adjustment for the purpose of arguing that the Levin application constitutes an abrogation of the Township Council's zoning authority and direct the Township Manager to provide the necessary resources to that purpose.
Second that motion.
A motion and a second. Unfortunately, I don't see our township attorney.
No, you also don't have, one, two, you don't have a quorum at this point.
We'll have to do that again.
Yes, you will.
I didn't.
Sorry about that. I just got elevated to panelist. I wasn't able to. I don't know if everybody else has that same problem.
3,
There is a quorum.
4, 5. We have a
Five of us.
quorum.
You
Yes.
do now.
Yes, we
All
had.
right, so
Can you
excuse
hear
me, we
me?
have to come out of executive session again. Do we have a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of coming out of executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Aye.
We are in public session. As I said before, that we had a discussion in executive session. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to direct the Township Attorney to appear before the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the purpose of arguing that the Levin application constitutes an abrogation of the Township Council's zoning authority and direct the Township Manager to provide the necessary resources to that purpose.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Barson,
Yeah.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka. It's not there. Councilwoman, is there? Okay. Councilwoman Pewitt.
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
I didn't hear Councilman Onijaka. Did he say yes?
Yes, I'm here now.
Okay.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see.
Mr. Attorney, do you have a statement?
No, I don't, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if there's anything else you need me to add.
Okay. Council has just passed a resolution asking you to take action. Council has always remained silent in these issues before the zoning board. Do you have any advice for us in that regard?
Only to the extent, Mayor, that any discussion of this should be limited to things that at a council meeting. And obviously at this point in time, what the council has done is instructed me to go in, to make a record of the township council's position before the zoning board. And that's what I intend to do. I'm not sure that there's much else to say at this point.
Okay, thank you. We're on to public discussion. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
Mayor, before you open to the public,
We have a
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of opening to the public, say aye. One minute, please. All in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Mayor, I
Motion is
just
carried.
wanted
We are
to-
open to the public. People may speak for 3 minutes on anything related to government. No yielding of time. You may only speak once. Please state your name and address. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a reminder for council to stay muted if possible. We are getting feedback. Also, reminder, the chat function is not monitored. Anybody wishing to make or speak during public comment, we ask that you use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone. Again, if you wish to speak during public comment, we ask you use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone. When you get done speaking, we ask you use the same manner to lower your hand.
Mr. Mayor, I think Councilman Vasanella was trying to speak before he went into public station.
I just wanted to see if it's okay. The attorney may want to mention the site of the property in case people don't know what the Levin application is for people who may speak.
Mr. Attorney.
I'm sorry. Say that again, Councilman. You broke up.
For the sake of people speaking that may not know what the Levin application means, if it's okay, if you reference the site.
Oh,
so-
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm more than happy to answer those questions.
So I mean, I'll answer it, Mr. Reno. The Levin application deals specifically with the redevelopment of the former Kmart site in Rutgers Plaza.
Okay, we're in public session. Anyone wishing to speak, please follow the directions of Mr. McQueen.
Is anybody from the public wishing to speak? Use the chat function, raise hand feature. Again, reminder, the chat is not monitored. You must raise your hand and speak on mic. Anybody from the phone, use *3 from your telephone.
Actually not seeing anyone wishing to speak.
I do not see anybody, Mayor, wishing to speak at this time.
Wait a few more seconds.
I'm
Okay.
seeing raised hands. Is that,
I also see raised hands as well.
Really, I don't see them.
Six people, I think, raise their hands.
one of those might be actually,
Wait, are you
Councilman
talking about
Embarrassing.
the exclamation point?
no, I'm
No,
ta-
raise
there's
hands.
raised hands.
I do not see any raised hands.
I don't see any either.
Any
I
way to vote
see-
participants list?
And Arnold Schmidt, I see an 848 number, a 908 number, a Jeffrey Dowd, a Carl P., Sandra Grunfest.
All right, I'll call on Arnold first. I'll rely on somebody to tell me who else. Arnold, you are unmuted at this time.
Oh, they're very dark, Mr. McQueen.
Yep, I see them.
Okay.
Am I on?
Yes.
Yes, you are, Mr.
Okay, very good. Good evening, Arnold Schmidt, 134 Hickory Road, Somerset. As a Ward 5 resident, I need to address the 11 Corporation's proposal to build a 200-unit apartment complex on the old Kmart site. The ramifications of this goes well beyond the 5th Ward. This is a township-wide quality of life issue. If the zoning board approves this for Levin, I question how the board would be able to say no to any retail property owner anywhere in Franklin who wants the same approvals Levin receives. Several years ago, Levin did a full site facelift, a new facade on this site. Except for the Kmart and the adjacent Chinese restaurant, the precise footprint where the apartment building is currently planned. A few quotes from the Levin website. One, quote, Levin management consistently ranks among the nation's leading retail real estate firms. Two, quote, our property management professionals ensure the building and grounds are well maintained and meet the highest standard for curb appeal, end quote. Does it sound like they were trying to present the, quote, highest curb appeal to attract tenants for the Kmart site? Three, quote, property managers, quote, monitor operations in tenant stores that may be experiencing difficulty in fulfilling lease obligations, including rent payments. I'll let others address rent issues. Four, quote, we've been through ups and downs of many market cycles, and our longevity, experience, and unparalleled expertise have positioned us to create and execute individualized, successful strategies in any economic climate, end quote. Really? Some will bring up the affordable housing issue. It's my understanding that we're well ahead in our COA obligations, so this is a red herring since we don't know what, if anything, will impact us in 2025 when this comes up. We shouldn't be making uninformed, speculative decisions, short-term decisions, without long-term implications for something that is unknown. This site is prime retail real estate with over 10,000 residents within a square mile and where over 39,000 motor vehicles pass by every day. Again, those numbers come directly from Levin's website. We don't need more residential properties than those in our master plan that will require infrastructure upgrades and eventually, when the other dominoes fall, will result in the need to build more schools, which means higher property taxes. We don't need to bail Levin out due to their possible mismanagement or maybe for what they had planned for this site long ago. I do want to commend Levin, though, for something that rarely happens these days. They have brought Democrats and Republicans and independents together in an effort to stop this horribly ill-conceived project. Setting this precedent would be a disaster for Franklin Township.
That's
Thank
your
you.
time. If you could wrap it up, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I just say one thing about Ted Chase? I wasn't able to get in before when you brought that up.
20 seconds.
Well, it's been my honor for about the past 20 years to work with Ted on many projects with the Environmental Commission, open space, and more. Ted's overall historic knowledge about Franklin is only paralleled by his knowledge about the environment, open space, climate, and our streams, rules, regulations, township ordinances, and everything Franklin-centric. I know Ted isn't going anywhere and anytime soon because he dare not retire. We still have more to learn from him.
That's your
Thank you for
time.
your service, Ted.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schmidt.
Okay, now we're moving on. Give me 1 second. I have a Bill Connell. You are unmuted.
Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. So basically, a lot of what Arnie said, I wanted to say, but in general, I think this Levin property issue is a very precedent-setting issue that I don't feel good about. I think it has a lot of consequences to it, and I have seen too many zoning meetings where lawyers and people take advantage of previous precedents, and I think this is just opening up a Pandora's box. I'm just very concerned about it, but obviously council is too, so I'll leave it at that. Most importantly, Ted Chase, thank you very, very much. As a citizen member of Franklin Township, I have learned so much being on the Open Space Committee and watching you in planning board meetings, on council meetings. You always bring an understanding. You don't just vote. You always try to bring an understanding to everything. And so whenever you're in a discussion, there's always some context. And it doesn't get much better than you, Ted. Thank you very much. That's
Thank
it.
you.
What you mean is I talk more.
Okay, caller, with the number of 848-888, 848-888, you are unmuted.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Yes, hello, my name is Alex Strauss, and I live at 285 Hazlitt Way. And I grew up, well, from 1966 by McAfee Road School. I lived there with my family, and I remember when Rutgers Plaza was constructed. And as you could probably guess, I am in support of the council moving against Levin because I feel that Levin has made at best a half-hearted attempt to rent out the space. You know, I don't see any, well, you know, all different things they could have tried. Maybe a Halloween or Christmas store, maybe bowling or something for the kids, a party space, maybe some kind of car repair, maybe a Midas. I'm not saying rent out the whole space. It could be divided. There are garages around on the side where they used to do tires and things at Kmart. There were vaccines in the parking lot, of course, conducted by Somerset County. But now that because of the weather, of course, they're not doing that. Well, maybe they could do it indoors. In Essex County in West Orange at 11 property, that's what they do at a former Kmart, okay? In addition, the state is now opening up a mega site in the former Lord and Taylor at Bridgewater Commons starting tomorrow. Well, maybe that could have been done here in Franklin. We've had more COVID issues, I think, than Bridgewater, okay? So there are a lot of things that have not been, I believe, touched on. And Levin is trying to take advantage. Levin, I don't think has ever built housing. So they're trying to use Franklin as a guinea pig, and the luxury housing market, the luxury apartment market is currently hot. So they're trying to make a killing and at our expense. So that's all I have to say. And yeah, please oppose this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Caller with a 908-305 number, 908-305.
Yes, thank you. This is Jim Johnston at 34 Norwich Place. Happy holidays, and thank you for giving the commendation to Councilman Ted Chase. Thank you for your years of service. And I want to add my voice to the previous speakers and to the township. I agree. I am in opposition to the building of that 4-story residence at the former Kmart site, and you know, I agree it's going to be more overdevelopment, and when you add that to the other overdevelopment, like for example, those 32 homes they're going to be building at the corner of Amwell Road and Cedar Grove Lane, and last month the zoning board approved the houses of worship on South Middlebush Road, and just 2 weeks ago we heard that they're going to tear down 2 acres of forest along Franklin Boulevard to build even more houses. You know, so all this new overdevelopment is going to create more schools and infrastructure, leading to more loss of open space. Now also, we've been having some discussions about this on Facebook, and the chairman of the Franklin Planning Board has been participating in our discussions, and he told us that they don't have any takers for any. There are no retail outlets who are willing at this time to put any stores in that shopping center where the Kmart was. Now, I don't know what the reason for that is. I mean, is it because of Levin is trying to block them from coming in there, or maybe maybe Franklin Township isn't making enough of an effort to attract new businesses to our town? I don't know, because we hear different stories from different people, but whatever the reason is, I want to thank Franklin Township for agreeing with us and opposing that 4-story residential building. And okay, so I think that covers what I want to say, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carl P., you are unmuted. Carl P.
Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Carl Peters over at 12 Academy. We should not be in the business of bailing out commercial developers. I mean, if he can't find suitable suitors for his land, he should sell it. I mean, we cannot absorb the infrastructure is already at its maximum. I mean, the traffic patterns around here are horrendous every day, and 200 units, that's another 400 cars, probably 200 to 400 cars. There is no way that the infrastructure can handle that load. And on top of that, our taxes are going to go with more kids. Everything is going to get worse. I mean, on the other side of Cedar Grove, there's so much traffic over there now, and it's growing. This is crazy. I mean, we should not be in the business of bailing out commercial guys. If he can't make do with his business, then he needs to sell it. The taxpayer should not be bailing this guy out. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Dowd, you are unmuted.
As Jeffrey Dowd, I'm 2 Denby Drive. I'm actually going to be the first, and who knows, maybe the only person to speak in strong support of this development. Look, there is massive demand for housing, and that housing has to go somewhere. If not there, it's going to go somewhere else. The traffic is still going to be around us. We're not walling off Franklin. There's also lower demand for retail. This is the perfect site. I hope it does set a precedent. This is right next to a supermarket. You are knocking away one automobile trip. The way to deal with traffic is to make our community less automobile dependent. Putting housing next to supermarkets does that. And again, I've heard all kinds of ideas of what could go there. I haven't heard anybody say, well, where do people get to live then? This is a not in my backyard or NIMBY politics, this kind of anti-development politics, and where it leads. Where this leads long-term is to situations like you have in California. California has a massive housing affordability crisis. It also has hundreds of thousands, like California, one of the richest states and one of the richest countries, has hundreds of thousands of homeless people, has massive sprawl, and none of that solved their traffic problem. All those NIMBY policies have just pushed people further and further and further out to wildfire zones. Now, I realize that Franklin Township with this one project isn't going to solve the problem of housing affordability, and that problem isn't our fault. But a way to think about these larger social problems is not to think about whose fault they are, but to think of them as our shared responsibility. Opposing this project when there is a massive need for housing is irresponsible, and I would urge the council to reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Hudick, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Robert Hudak, 28 Stratford Drive, Somerset. Good evening. My comments are in regard to the Levin Management Corporation's alleged hardship to allow 200 residential units by means of a variance. Franklin Township is not to be looked upon for handouts. In this case, the landlord might either have high rental rates or has misread the value of future retail. Both problems are self-inflicted. High rental rates could be in play to discourage future growth so that they can come to the township and cry wolf because they can't attract leasees. If the landlord can't see the viability of this property, given the number of potential customers, both in Franklin and commuters on Easton Avenue, then their marketing department needs to be fired. It is evident the landlord wants the township to do its bidding and grant a change because this landlord is looking for an easy way out. This is evident as they have not worked to attract clients in the past and have no interest to reinvest or reinvent this property for the future. An easy way the Levin Management Corporation can alleviate their so-called hardship is to sell this property. If Franklin grants a land use change, it will set precedents for all other property owners unwilling to reinvest in our town. Lastly, a possible use for this site would be the YMCA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra Grunfest, you are unmuted.
Thank you. I reside at 19 Hill Avenue. I have been a resident here since 1966. I originally signed up to speak because I too wanted to thank Ted Chase for all his years of service. My husband and I have known him for many years and have always admired his dedication to Franklin and to public service. Listening to this debate has really been very interesting because it just shows we need both. We need housing. I have my grandchildren living with me, and there is not enough affordable housing here in Franklin. They moved from California because of the high rents. So there is a need for moderate income housing, but there is also a need for retail. As an older person, I don't like getting on 287 or Route 1 to go shopping. I would love to have stores close by where I can just make a short trip and get some clothes and things that I want. So there's both sides, and maybe didn't there used to be a business development committee as part of the Franklin Township Chamber of Commerce to try to attract new businesses? Maybe more needs to be done along those lines. I'm just expressing my opinions. I don't have, they're in the process of formation, but this is an important issue, and I look forward to participating in future discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
All those hands are.
Mr. Mayor, just give me a minute. I'm going back through the list. Now, we asked that everybody that did speak that raised their hands to lower their hands by using the chat function, raise hand feature. If you already did, it will lower it, or *3 from the phone.
Dina Lux is new.
Yes. Deanna Lux, you are unmuted.
Hi, Dina Lux, 51 Patriots Way in Somerset, New Jersey. First, I too want to thank Councilman Chase for all the work that he has done as a councilman, and I look forward to continue working with him in the future. He has been done a stellar job as a councilman and has been a staunch advocate for the environment, and I've also enjoyed working with him on the Open Space Advisory Committee. Thank you, Councilman Chase. I also want to speak against this project in the Kmart Plaza, the Levin project. Somebody before, one of the attendees before, mentioned that it's great because there's a supermarket right nearby. I have shopped at Stop and Shop, and I've also shopped at ShopRite. Stop and Shop has much higher prices. I mean, if shopping is a concern, there is still, and Stop and Shop can't handle it because of the lack of development in that shopping center, then maybe that area needs to look for a less expensive supermarket that won't cost people that much money when they go food shopping. So I really I'm not quite sure about the link between having Stop and Shop there and having housing put up. Another concern of mine was that on Easton Avenue, the traffic is terrible coming out and into New Brunswick. And with the canal there, I know we've had some significant rain events, where that's part of Eastern Avenue tends to get flooded. I can't even imagine what the traffic would be like with flooding there, with 400 units and cars going back and forth in the morning, going to work and coming back from work, with flooding, no less, on that portion of Easton Avenue. I think it would be literally a traffic nightmare and would create all kinds of problems for that entire area. So I am opposed to this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Looks like Linda Raimondi.
Hold on. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, who did you say?
Linda Raimondi.
Okay. Linda, you are unmuted.
Thank you. Linda Raimondi, 128 Harrow Drive, Somerset. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. Again, same subject, the Kmart Levin project. I came in a little late, and I know after your closed session, you all voted to, and I apologize for my ignorance and how you all work, but you voted to do something regarding this Levin project, and I'm not clear on what it was you voted to do, to deny it, to look into it. Could someone just explain that to me quickly, and then I'll ask my question.
Mr. Attorney.
The council voted to instruct the township attorney to appear before the zoning board and argue that the grant of a use variance would violate the council's authority to zone in the township.
And so that means it's going to violate the township's authority. So does that mean you are denying the request, or you're just suggesting?
No, once again, this is an application before the zoning board, so we don't get to vote to approve or deny. We're just going to make the argument to the zoning board that they should deny.
Understood. So I guess then some of us have to get on that zoning board meeting, whenever that is. But my follow-up question is, thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome.
We keep saying that we need, one of the pros was we need more affordable housing. I myself constantly look at the various rents in these apartments that are going up around here, quote unquote luxury rentals. They are exorbitant. So I don't know what we're calling affordable housing. I know they have to allocate just so many because that's the way it works with developers. They have to have so many for low income people. But most of those rents are more than your average homeowner's mortgage. So I don't see how that's going to provide affordable housing for Franklin Township. And I realize in this economy, because of COVID, it's very difficult to get retail people to come and open stores. We have so many empty stores, but look what we managed to do on Cedar Grove. I mean, we have one end, the Starbucks end is unfortunately all empty now, but that other strip was empty and now it's not. So I just think that someone, whatever committee it is in your organization, there needs to look into attracting more businesses that would be compatible with Franklin's image and needs. And like several people said, there's many situations where, stopping into that Kmart was so handy, as horrible as it was. You need a filter for your air conditioner. You need a mat for your bathroom.
Time.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think I'm glad that you are telling the zoning board that you oppose it. However, I'm phrasing that incorrectly, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. I'm just checking one last time, Mr. Mayor.
There's a phone number that is unmuted.
It's Councilman Embarrassing, I believe, Mayor.
Oh, okay. There's one other phone number that has a hand up. I don't know if they've already gone.
Yeah, no, both of those numbers have spoken. I'm just verifying. Yeah, both of those numbers have had their opportunity to speak. Again, if you're on the phone, hit *3 to lower your hand, please. I do not see anybody else, Mr. Mayor, indicating they wish to speak at this time.
Okay. Neither do I.
Is the call-in people have a specific direction as to what they need to do if they called in on a phone line?
Yeah, they need to hit *3 to lower their hand or raise it, which they've done.
So no one else seems to wish to speak. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, since there's no one else from the public wishing to speak, I make a motion to close the public session.
Jerry and Roxanne just put up their
Has
hand.
he not heard us talking about this the whole night? I don't know.
Mr. McQueen, Jerry and Roxanne.
Oh, I rescind my motion.
Okay, hold on. Jerry and Roxanne, you were unmuted.
Oh, thank you for picking up my call. I've been trying to get in. I'm calling regarding the Kmart.
We can just barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Roxanne and Jerry Bennett at 37 Shelley Drive in Somerset. And like everyone has been saying, the traffic, I feel, will be a terrible nightmare on Eastern Avenue. We have plenty of developments in the area. Like someone said on Demont Lane, they're building something. I mean, on Cedar Grove, we have the Franklin, the development right behind Kmart, and also another one. And then we have Harrison Towers. I don't see there's a need for another development here in the area. If anything, it should remain a commercial property. I miss Kmart as well. And I used to be able to walk there, and it would be great. I mean, Target would be great. Anything but another development. This is the suburbs. We don't need to be confined and compounded with more and more development in the area. And that's basically what I have to say. And I hope the committee continues to vote against this project. And have a good holiday. Everyone stay safe.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, again, I just went through the list. I do not see anybody wishing to speak at this time.
Council?
It's okay. I'll make my motion again. Mr. Mayor, seeing there's no one from the public, I'll make a motion to close public session.
And I'll second it.
Second.
Moved in, seconded. And just making one more troll through. I don't see anyone going. All in favor of closing public session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Public session is closed. We are now on to council comments. Mr. Onijaka. You're muted, Mr. Onijaka.
I don't know.
We can hear you now.
Okay. It's my mute. Okay, Mayor, I don't have much to say. I just want to wish everybody happy Christmas in advance and a very prosperous new year. And that's all I have to say this time, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As of last meeting, I told you that I would bring two things as an update. One would be the Housing Authority, and one is on the Redevelopment Agency. You're starting backwards. The Redevelopment Agency, through the Planning Board, just approved 6 townhouse constructions in the Millstone Churchill area. Now, those townhomes are market rate. They're not affordable, they're market rate townhomes. Some of them in that area, of course, are low-income housing, moderate housing, things of that kind of housing there. So I was listening to the young lady that said some of the housing was you couldn't afford. They're like mortgages for homes. And looking at some of the rents around New Brunswick, Somerset, they were all high. And yes, they are bigger than my mortgage. Moving on to the Housing Authority, where Ike Agadosi is the chairman of operations there. No issues. Everything's good. The government brings us the funds that are required because we have a lot of seniors that are receiving vouchers there, and the regular funds for RPM, which is the builder. So those funds are transferred over, and we have some left over in the building fund for other acquisitions. The last thing, though, goes out to Councilman Dr. Ted Chase, who I've had the pleasure of sitting next to. Now, I do a lot of things there, and Councilman Chase does a lot of things there. And the one thing I learned more than anything else is green. I'm also on the land use committee with Dr. Chase, and he knows everything. And that's not, just speaking. He knows a lot. And it's that attitude, it's that knowledge that I am grateful for. So as he leaves,
I think it's up to me to become the next green machine. That everything I want is open space. If you build it, it better have open space. Because if it doesn't, I'm coming after you because Ted Chase told me to. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I yield back all my time.
Thank you. Councilman Embarasan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope you can hear me well. I'm calling from far distance. Thank you. Yeah, so we had a final meeting for the year of the Human Relations Commission in November, and we discussed the value and the need to celebrate diversity in our town on a more formal way, and as such, we are thinking of putting together a list of internationally recognized festivals and celebrations from various cultures that are prevalent in the town, and we would have a standing calendar of those celebrations going forward, hopefully that we can all celebrate it together. Apart from that, I did attend a 90th birthday of a community organizer, Dr. Chandrakant Desai. He's a well-known poet. He's been recognized in the U.S. Congress and the state legislature, and it's a great milestone. There was a proclamation that our township secretary had created, and I presented it to Dr. Desai on the 27th November. That was a good occasion for us to recognize his service to the community. And there was a holiday lighting, tree lighting ceremony at the township. It was a great event after many, many months. A lot of people from the township participated in that. On Friday, December 3rd, we had some cultural activities and programs organized by our rec department, which was well attended and very nicely done. Congratulations to the folks, especially Myra, to have hosted that event. A very nice event, and I was happy to participate in anticipation for the I guess the Christmas that is coming up this month. And one more event with the community on Monday, December 6th. The township manager and our public works director organized a meeting with the New Jersey Watershed Authority regarding a water basin issue that at the Renoir Basin. We had a very nice, good discussion, and I'm hoping that we have honed in on a problem and a solution, and we hope to continue the discussions and come up with ways to alleviate some of the issues faced by the residents in the neighborhood. Last but not least, on December 7th, there was a Sewerage Authority meeting, which I participated, and that's about it before I left for my trip in Antarctica. And I am in Antarctica looking at very cold weather and rough seas at the moment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Is the sun up?
Nope, but we have sunlight throughout the night, so we had to pull down our dark shade so that we can sleep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Councilwoman Pruitt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have too much to report on, but I do want to echo my colleagues' comments on Councilman Chase's service. I've been very lucky to be able to serve with him on this council, and I've always admired his deep historical knowledge about the township, as well as, you know, the operational knowledge that he has, and it'll definitely be a loss to this body. And, you know, I guess just trying to absorb as much as I can glean from him before he leaves. But he is going to continue on, or so he hopes, in other forms of boards and commissions, so we won't lose him entirely. So I do want to say, it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you, as well as serve with you. So thank you so much, Ted.
Well, thank you, Crystal.
Yeah. I also want to mention that we did have a Hamilton Street Advisory Board meeting. I don't have too much to report, but I will leave it to my other colleagues who also were on that board, or rather that group, should they have anything that they want to share. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the Christmas tree lighting. I feel like this is probably a segue to what we'll discuss later, but unfortunately I had it turns out to be a false alarm. I was fine, but I had a potential exposure, so I decided to stay home, and I was unable to attend the tree lighting. But as I said, I was actually negative, good to go. So, and I guess lastly, I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season and a new year. And just be well and be safe. And with that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say a couple things to Dr. Ted Chase. But first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for volunteering your time and your talent for the many, many years that you have served Franklin Township. You are so knowledgeable in historic issues, environmental issues, open space, land use. Your knowledge is infinite. You've done so much to contribute to Franklin. You've dedicated your time and your talent, and Franklin wouldn't be the place it is if it wasn't for you and your stewardship and all the many years that you have served us. It's been my honor, it's been my privilege to have been part of your, in your company, been involved in all the things that you have contributed to Franklin, all the devotion and dedication you have given us. And no one can fill your footsteps. No one can fill your shoes. And I just want to say, my first experience with you was when I was the mayor and I sat on the planning board, and I learned so much from you, and I've learned so much from you over the years. And I admire you, and I thank you so much for all that you've done, and thank you for your service. And don't you go anywhere, because we will not allow you to go anywhere. I'm not going to say I'm going to truly miss you. Clearly, we'll miss you on the Township Council, but we want you to stay involved. And I know you have so much more to give to all of us, and you've done so much for all of us. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much for you being the true statement that you are, and being such a great example to all of us. Thank you for your service. And happy holidays to everybody, and Happy New Year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Udine.
Thank you. I think first off, I definitely, I think I had the shortest time spent with Ted Chase. So I just definitely want to thank you for the 11 months of working with you on a couple of the community. I can see the value and just the knowledge sharing that you have done on a lot of things have given me a open insight to things. So I definitely want to thank you for that. And I'm sure I will be in touch. I'm not sure if anyone else, but just to learn about some things in the backgrounds as I have called you during your lunch hours. So thank you for accepting my calls and giving me insights. All right, so what I have been doing, I had an internal town hall meeting with some of my constituents to go over some things that has been discussed for Second Ward, and some of my goals and objectives of what I would like to do, and get their feedback. So I'm going to continue having those internal town hall meetings. Starting next year, I will have it on my calendar. And I will keep it open to my residents to join those meetings. Some will be Zoom, some will be on site, depending on how things go. I've also attended the tree lighting ceremony, and I think our Parks Recreation team did a phenomenal job. So thank you for all the work that they do. On December 5th, I've attended a New Jersey Unity Muslim PAC event in Saddlebrook Marriott event, and that was honoring a couple of our elective officials, Sadaf and Shama. So that was very nice to see a lot of familiar faces in that event. I was also part of the Franklin Township some stormwater basin meeting that was held on December 6th with our Glen Air community with some of their concerns. So I want to thank DPW as well. I've understood today that there's been some cleanup activity done there. So thank you to Carr and his team for going out there. And I think Councilman Ram for taking those pictures and presenting those to us. So thank you. We had a DPW meeting today, and a couple of things to update. I know Councilman, Deputy Mayor will update you a couple of things on that as well, but just a few things. Our road survey update is in progress right now, so you may spot cars. I think Councilman James can provide that information to you. He spotted one, so look out for them. They're out on the road right now, and I think. Just looking down, I think that's pretty much fire prevention meeting was canceled. There was nothing major to report on. So we're gonna do the next one in January. And with that, I wanna say, I wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe holidays to our Franklin families. And just Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Vasanella. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you know what? Deputy Mayor Vasanella, I'll have you go and let Councilman Chase speak last.
Great. I actually was going to ask if he wanted to. I would be fine with that. So a few quick items. We did have a public works meeting today. I think Ted might read out a few aspects of that, but I just wanted to say that we did have Charles Street, Plumtree, Dahmer, Alpelman, Deerfield, Bathgate, and Main Street, all of which will be paved in the spring. Just wasn't time to finish it this fall, but they have been approved and appropriated. So those streets will be done in the spring as part of our 2021 program. Like Councilwoman Udine mentioned, our roads condition and township-wide sign survey. The car is out there, spotted one this week, basically using sonar and digital video capture and all these other high-tech things to give us a report that will basically give us a chance to not only give an aesthetic facelift to our signage and our roadways, but make them safer and more user-friendly going forward in the next year or two as we use that information to do that. Did attend the yearly planning meeting for New Jersey Housing Resource Center, which I'm on the board of trustees, and they are doing wonderful things and continue to do wonderful things for Franklin. And we continue to be a shining example of the town that not only did the affordable housing inventory and have it that we were required, but went beyond and have beyond our required amount and continue to provide not just affordable housing, but other financial literacy and housing information. So we had our annual planning meeting, and anyone who is interested can look on their website and see what they do. Real quickly, the county, I believe, at the community center near Patriot Stadium in Bridgewater, I think it's a community and/or senior center. My understanding is they continue to provide booster shots, vaccines and boosters for free to any Somerset County resident, no appointment necessary. I think they're open 3 evenings a month. It's where I had gotten my booster shot recently. And I would say go to the county website, although our website may provide some information about that, but they continue to be available if anybody is looking to get a booster or vaccine. I wanted to talk for a moment about Ted Chase, Councilman Chase, Dr. Chase. I know him as Ted. I think most of us know him as Ted. And before I got on council almost 20 years ago, well before I got on council, I think it was 03 or 04, I was at a political social event at what used to be the Travel Lodge. I think it was Quality Inn when we were there at the event, and somebody, I had never met Ted, and somebody, I had some comments and questions about something in front of the planning board. A lot of people were concerned about. They said, oh, go talk to Ted, go talk to Ted. I saw Ted. I told him what I thought of the project, asked him a question, and he went on to take 20 minutes of his time to explain all of the details, all of the pros and cons in a way that was both enlightening and a pleasure. And that just set the tone for my work with Ted since then. I've served with him on the Public Works Committee and the Land Use Committee, mainly on economic development, also more recently, but for most of the last 12 years on land use and public works. As everyone has stated, his understanding and commitment is basically unparalleled and just in this town, and just a value that we may not even realize for decades to come. But thank you, Ted. Thank you for what you've done, and thank you for what you're going to continue to do. As it was mentioned, you're not really going anywhere. You just won't be with us on council on Tuesday nights going forward. But that's about it, other than to say happy holidays, happy new year, have fun, and be well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I'll go to leave Dr. Chase to go last. First, I want to talk about the COVID clinic we had, both testing and vaccination this past Sunday at the Hamilton Street Middle School. We had 75 people tested and 375 people vaccinated. Vaccinations from first vaccines to second vaccines to primarily boosters, adults and children. And it was so successful. I usually do these things every other week. With Christmas coming up, I thought it appropriate. We'll have another one on the 19th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Franklin Middle School. And it'll be COVID shots of all three flavors. The boosters or initial shots or follow-up shots, and there'll be testing. Adults, children, basically anyone who's available, who's appropriate to get a shot can get a shot there. Dr. Professor Councilman Chase, we started on council together in 2010. He's been a hard worker politically and also as a councilman. I think one of the highest honors I can pay you is that you are not a politician, you are a statesman. He is the least, he knows the most about politics of all of us, but he's the least political of all of us. He basically tells it like it is, votes like it he should, or like he feels he should. It's been an honor to work with you, and thank you for understanding my Revolutionary War references. Someone had to. And now I'll hand it over to Dr. Chase.
Oh dear, you've given me a heavy burden for my final statement. I read something recently that somebody said retiring is, while you're still able, is so much better than dying. You get to hear your own obituaries. And that's rather what tonight has been like. All sorts of people thanking me, mainly for remembering a lot of things I learned, many of them from Bob Mettler, who knew more than I ever have about Franklin Township. I did have one thing to report from the Public Works meeting. I wondered how, now that there's infrastructure money. Eventually, it'll be available for actual use. To, among other things, replace lead pipes. And I wondered, does anyone know whether they have lead pipes? But Carl Hauk explained that on the water utilities section of the township website, there's a place for sampling where people can sign up when the water utility samples the water at various sites throughout the township every month. They can be one of the sites. But further, there's a PDF there. There's a link to a PDF to sign up for this. And on the second page of this, there are pictures of various types of pipe so that you can see whether you have copper or galvanized steel or polyvinyl chloride or even lead pipe. He also told me that while the water utility was replacing the water mains on Home and Ambrose Street, which are the very oldest part of town, they checked all the service lines from the main to the houses, and they didn't find any lead service lines. So I will hope that there are no lead lines anywhere in the township, but if you are curious, there is a way to check your line. So I thank everybody with whom I have served, and I hope I have learned some things from them, whether it be pictures of Antarctica or other things we have learned lately. I will not, of course, speak on the main topic of the evening, but perhaps I will after I am no longer on council and therefore no longer able to influence the appointment of zoning board members. I served myself on the zoning board for a couple of terms in the 70s and 80s and know something about how they work. So I think maybe I should just leave it at that. Wish everyone a happy holidays and a happy new year. And perhaps I will be one of those people signing in from the chat box at future council meetings. Thank you all again.
If you do speak, I'll give you an extra 20 seconds. So the next item is council discussion item, but I think.
Actually, Mayor, it's the township manager's report, I guess.
No, actually, it's council discussion item according to
Yeah,
my.
look at that. So it's out of order.
If you may listen, if you would actually listen for a moment, what I was going to say was I think it more appropriate that we do the township manager's report. So
I agree, since my report will be very short and sweet because we will get to the council discussion item, which I think is important for us to discuss and have time for that. I, like all others on this meeting tonight, would like to thank Councilman Chase for his mentorship and for our shared interest in Franklin Township history. It has been something that I have had an interest in since my very first day working here. I had the pleasure of working with police officers in my first months and years of my career who had been born and raised here and spent many years working for the township, and my interest is carried on with my many discussions about the history of Franklin with Councilman Chase. And I will tell you, Councilman, on my birthday every year, I will think about the fact that we share a birthday and that I will somehow find a way to wish you a happy birthday. I'm sure Victory will answer the phone, as she always does, but I'm sure she'll let me talk to you to wish you a happy birthday. And that's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
And I should have thanked you too for all the help you've given me, particularly in dealing with Kingston.
One of my favorite places to be.
Very good. So we're on to number 9, which has become number 10, council discussion items. Township meeting format. Basically, it should have said township meeting format, I guess, in reference to COVID. So I have been watching the numbers closely, and Mr. Manager, if you could share the graphic that I sent you.
I will have to be given the permission to share by Mr. McQueen.
Mr. McQueen.
I just gave him the share capability.
Yes, very nice.
No,
So-
he hasn't. There it goes.
So the numbers have been climbing, and actually alarmingly, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I predicted when it was at an average of 10 cases per day, that it was going to go up to 20 and peak at that. What you see here is the blue spikes and line represent cases in 2020. The line is the 7-day moving average, and the red line and spikes are for 2021. And you can see in mid-July, we hit the lowest. We were under 1 case a day. It went a bit higher, then again lower than last year. And in the last, well, basically in December, it has really spiked. Today, the average is 20. We had 54 new cases. That's the second highest that we've had. Day to day, it's hard to say because sometimes people get tested. People get tested more on weekends, but it doesn't show up till the weekday because it takes a while for the tests to get in. So a 1-day spike doesn't mean anything, but a 7-day average of 29 does. Seeing this happening, I sent a text to the governor on Thursday because our permission to stay virtual was going to run out on January 1st. And I asked him to consider extending virtual municipal meetings, or permission to have virtual municipal meetings. He actually got back to me within 8 minutes saying he would discuss it with his team. And within 2 hours, I got a call from his deputy chief of staff who said they are interpreting this ruling that it can continue for the time being, no definite date. The township attorney talked to the deputy chief of staff and confirmed that. We should be seeing a memo out sometime this week. But given this increase in cases, I am recommending to council that we stay virtual. Looking at last year, it didn't really go down until June or July, but I don't want to wait that long. We can revisit this later, but I'm going to make a motion that we stay in virtual session until March 31st, or to the end of March. And we can revisit it then. The reason to do it for an extensive period of time is every time we change our mind, we have to re-advertise meetings. That costs money. It's difficult to do. So doing it for an extended period of time is somewhat useful. So my motion again is to stay in virtual meetings, both us and all the other township meetings until March 31st. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
I second that.
Any discussion? You can take down the chart.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thanks. I appreciate the chart and going walking us all through this, as well as, you know, addressing kind of the overall safety concerns. And I know when this has come up on this body before, we've spoken a lot about, you know, our responsibility as a government body to do what we need to do to keep people safe. I also feel the need to kind of express some of the concerns from our seniors through the Senior Advisory Board, who, you know, while appreciate the concern and safety, are also struggling in the sense that they aren't really able to be with one another. So I guess as we're having these conversations, I think it's really important to kind of balance that. Not to say that I necessarily disagree with this decision to err on the side of caution, but it's for some of our communities, especially our senior clubs, who really rely on kind of being able to socialize and get together, and are seeing, you know, different groups doing that independently. You know, they're having a really hard time reconciling the decisions that we're making. And I do want to kind of just express that to the board, as the seniors ask that I express that to you all when we're having these conversations, to make sure that, you know, we're actually keeping that in mind. With that being said, I think it's always a really difficult decision on what to do, especially, you know, there's almost 2 years of this pandemic, and wanting to try and keep as many people safe as possible. So I think I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that, you know, while I think this approach makes sense, there are consequences to some of our vulnerable population, while trying to also, you know, in our minds, keep them safe and out of harm. So I just want to put that out there, Mr. Mayor.
I appreciate that. The manager and I are fond of saying every decision you make in COVID, there's a bad part of it. Perhaps we can talk offline and you can educate me more about it, and maybe we can find a solution that will work for them and still keep people as safe as possible.
Thanks. I would appreciate that, and I think the seniors would too. The senior clubs.
Any other discussion?
I just curious, Mayor, listening to Councilman Pruitt, I just want to be clear, and I hear you, I share those same concerns, but are they, the seniors, not the meeting for the Senior Committee Advisory Board that I believe that's what Councilman Pruitt is in a liaison to, but the senior meetings, senior activities, you know, all the things that we used to provide, aren't some of them still operational at the community senior center with proper precaution, or have they been eliminated or postponed?
Mr. Manager?
Large gatherings are not, we're not permitting large gatherings. Unfortunately, some of the club meetings bring out a large number of people, and due to the constraints that we have on that.
Like the exercise program, the different programs they have.
There are activities, yes, but that's not what the councilwoman was talking about. She's
Right.
talking
No, I
about
just
the
want to be
club
clear.
meetings.
So,
Right,
so
and the club meetings have been curtailed for the
club
fact
meetings were curtailed, and I understand there's a desire for they may want to get back together, and when we're postponing a little bit longer. But there still are the senior activities that are run through our community senior
there are
center
some in person and some virtual, but yes.
that are still okay. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
What is considered large gathering?
So if we, every room in all of our buildings has a COVID occupancy load based on social distancing. So every room has a different number. My office has a number. That was determined early on in the pandemic.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're having the same challenge with the youth center, how to open it, when to have activities in it, when can we have a grand opening? The same issue is applying across the board with the youth as well.
Anyone else? And we have a motion and a second. I think this deserves a vote. Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Barrison,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pewit,
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella, Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes to the Township Council for approval. Township Council Executive Minutes of April 27th, 2021. Executive Session, October 26th, 2021. Work session, regular meetings for October 26th, 2021 at 7 p.m., November 9th, 2021 at 7 p.m., and November 23rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. Do we have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, any corrections? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Ambarson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pewit,
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella, Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Councilman Embarrasson, what time are you using now? What time is it to you?
It is 11:20 Antarctica time. It's actually is using Chile time, which is 2 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time.
Ah, okay, good to know. Approval of the warrants in the amount of $20,297,436.52 on December 14th, 2021 are presented to Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Anyone want to pull an item? Have a question about an item?
Yes. For the township manager, I believe this is where we're gonna go. The consumption license. I know how it goes, but maybe some of my constituents or the township as a whole don't understand how that goes from one to another.
I think you're talking
How
about,
does that say?
you're
Excuse
talking
me?
about the consent agenda, Mr. That
Okay,
we're not there yet.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other
Give
discussion?
the manager time to warm up.
Yeah, he can look up consumption of licenses.
Maybe the township attorney, you're asking a legal question, and I'm sure he'll probably be better off answering than me.
Okay.
He's wearing a tie and everything. Any other discussion on the warrants or any actual discussion on the warrants? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Ambarson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pewit,
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella, Councilman Wright.
Yes.
When it comes to ordinances, there's a first reading and a second reading. The first reading is to announce to the world that we're going to eventually have a vote. And the second reading is where we actually vote. There have second readings this time. Ordinance 4354-21, an ordinance canceling the assessment trust assessments receivable and reserved for assessments from 1985. I love it. Is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. To have a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We are open to the public on this item only. Same rules, but it's only on this item only.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item, please use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone.
Does anyone from the public even understand it?
Okay, we still have the caller 848-888 that still has their hand up. I'm unmuting you. Do you wish to speak on this item? There are none. I will go to the next caller. Let me see. All right, Mr. Mayor, I do not see anybody wishing to speak on this item.
Do I have a motion to close?
But Mayor, a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do I have a motion on the item?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Great.
I don't think you voted on closing the public portion.
Oh, we didn't? Oh, all in favor of closing public portion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
say nay.
I thought that's what we were voting on, right, and then so I said that, but-
Opposed, say nay. Oh, no one is saying nay. Sorry, I'm messing up here. Public portion is closed. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So Councilman Chase is right. It's unfortunate. There can't be discussion on the item until there's been a motion and a second. Maybe I should break that rule and just explain them before public session. But basically, these are assessments that were done in 1985 on sewage system that for some reason the township put in. No one ever collected on the assessments. The owners have changed. They are uncollectible, says the attorney, and we are closing the books on them and balancing our spreadsheet. Any other discussion on the item? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Barson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pewitt,
Yes.
Councilman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
An ordinance, we're now on to it passes. We are now on to ordinance 4355-21, an ordinance canceling balances of certain bonds and capital ordinances of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, in the amount of $117,198.63. Is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Basically, this is money that we said we were going to spend, that we didn't spend, and we are again balancing the spreadsheets on this and putting money in the right account. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening to the public on this item only, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open to the public. Same rules. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item, we ask to use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone. Again, I will, nope, I think, I do not see anybody indicating they wish to speak.
Bill Connell has his
I have a
hand.
bill. Yes.
Okay, yep, there we go.
Hello again.
Bill, you are unmuted.
25 Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street, and open space member. So the $93,000, where is that from? What project? For the open space refund?
So it could be from a number of different projects. It could be small amounts from a multitude of projects that, so it could be from, Bill, half a dozen to a dozen different things. Off the top of my head, I don't know what all of them are. When everything is done, one of them was a land acquisition that we didn't make, that there was a portion of it that was still outstanding. a whole lot of different things.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's not one thing. It's the consolidation of multiple capital ordinances.
Okay,
Got it.
thank you.
I see no one else. Wait,
Hold on. Yep, there's an, again, 848-888. I will unmute you. Do you have anything to say on this?
I think they walked away from their phone.
Yeah, that hand's been up since public discussion, so
Yep.
going through the list one more time.
I see no one else.
Yep, I do not see anybody else.
I will make a motion then that we close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Oh, innovative. We have a second.
Second.
Second. There we go. Good job. Motion and a second to close the public portion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say
Aye.
nay. We have a motion on the item. Public session is closed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the item? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Morrison,
Yes.
Councilman Case,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pewitt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
So we're not allowed to have a first reading ordinance because it will be a different body that would be here with Councilman Chase leaving and Councilman Tasnik coming on. So you can't carry over that way. So we're on to the consent agenda. Items A through W as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now, Councilman.
I'm ready for you.
To the question, could you just explain to everyone, I give you a license, what's the difference between the license, consumption versus selling, or how you want to spell that, and person to person? What is the mechanism there?
So it's actually place to place, not person to person, is what you're talking about. So there's a couple different things that are a licensee is required to do. First, and well, the first issue with liquor licenses is the initial sale of all liquor licenses is done by the municipality. Once the municipality sells the license, then the license holder can sell the license to another person. So when you talk about a person-to-person transfer, you're talking about somebody selling their liquor license to someone else. The two primary, then there's more than two, but the two primary are consumption and distribution. Consumption meaning a bar, a tavern, or restaurant, and a distribution meaning a liquor store. What we have on our agenda today is a place-to-place transfer. That's where the license is being transferred from one location to another here. The premise is licensed, so if you have a liquor license and you move that liquor license, and in this case, it was what was referred to as a pocket license. The person had the license, but it wasn't active, and they're moving it to a new location. The liquor store and bar that's opening in Summerfield Shopping Center at Randolph Road and Schoolhouse Road. So the licenses are required to be renewed annually. That's why you also see a renewal on the agenda for this license. And the township receives a portion of those license renewals annually.
My next question, I could rent my license to you,
No.
and No, I can't do that.
No.
Okay. Okay.
License holder must be the operator.
And what was the last, off the top of your head, what was the last time we sold one? What was the cost?
So liquor licenses become available based on population, and we will have additional liquor licenses based on the most recent census figures for Franklin Township. We sold several not long after the last census, so 2012, 13. It depends, a distribution license, and it depends on the town. The prices can vary wildly between a liquor license in one town to another. So I hate to speculate on those things because it's a source of revenue, and
Right.
you don't know. It's a couple $100,000 generally in this town.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone
For all
else?
my residents that wanted to know, there you have it.
I can watch the videotape.
Anyone else?
Could I ask about item B, confirming appropriation of funds for the realignment of ward boundaries?
Yes, so you can ask. So the Township of Franklin is obligated to pay for the realignment of wards. So we have to pay
The county's cost.
associated with the GIS department and the engineering department and all of those things. We are required to pay for the cost of our ward realignments that are a result of the 2020 census.
Wasn't aware that it was so costly.
That was the cost estimate provided to us by the election board.
Well, actually, I don't think the item said anything about what the cost is projected to be. It just confirms that we're appropriating the funds.
Which means we have to pay the bill when they send it to us.
Yeah.
So what they're talking about is after every census, they realign the wards so that they all have approximately the same population. And they do this by moving one district from one ward to another. Any other issues? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilman Pewitt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Resolution 21, so we have two resolutions to be voted on separately. Resolution 21-415 is an add-on, came in late. Resolution 21-415 authorize the 2022 fire district salaries. Do we have a motion on the item?
Guess no one wants to pay the fire commissioners.
That's one way to vote no. No moves. Come on, Councilman Francois.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pewitt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Resolution 21-416, resolution of the Township of Franklin regarding the endorsement of adult use cannabis program in New Jersey. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded so that, no, moved and seconded. Any discussion? I was going to get in trouble. Hearing no discussion, though several giggles, it's getting late. It's almost midnight in Antarctica, you know.
That's right, Mayor. Motion to adjourn soon.
Hearing no discussion, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes, for my
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Udine,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Councilman Chase, you got stepped on. I normally don't allow speeches during the vote, but I heard yours. Go ahead and repeat it.
Oh, I just said for my final vote.
Yes, it is. No, you have one more.
Oh,
There's no old business. Do we have a motion from Councilman Chase to adjourn?
so moved.
Moved and seconded.
Second.
All in favor? Second from Antarctica. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Strong aye.
opposed, say nay, and you've got to stay on. We are adjourned.